G'day everyone and welcome back to Digging Deeper Ag Chats with Al. I'm really excited to kick off 2026 with you. We've just finished our first full calendar year of podcasts and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's listened, shared an episode, sent a message or stopped me for a chat. I genuinely appreciate it. This year we're aiming to bring you even more great guests with plenty of practical conversations you can take straight back to your own operation. We'll be featuring more local producers too. People right here in our region who are doing good things, having a crack, who've got great stories worth sharing. I'm also pleased to say that we've got some regular voices returning. Chelsea from Herd Solutions will be joining us on a monthly basis with veterinary updates and timely animal health advice. And Morgan from Elders is back as well, committed to a monthly livestock market update to help us make sense of what's happening and what it might mean on farm. So whether you're listening in the ute, on the tractor or in the yards, welcome back. I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoy what we've got coming in 2026. Welcome to Digging Deeper. We have Morgan Davies for the first one for the year. Morgs, how you going?
Good, thanks, Al, and g'day to all our listeners. Hope everyone had a fantastic break over the festive season. We certainly did.
Last time you talked, you were going away a few different places. You hadn't been on a holiday for a week or two, so you had to get away.
Yeah, no, just had to get away and spread my wings. We had a nice little break. Obviously, there's a bit of work going on too. It doesn't stop. There's a lot of processes that still need to keep running, so we certainly consigned a few cattle here, there and everywhere and a few sheep as well, which was good.
We'll get straight into that because we've got a couple of other things to talk about later on. But how are prices at the minute over the Christmas break and the numbers, what do they look like?
Yeah, so January opened up. Obviously, it's a massive time for selling weaner and young cattle all over the Western District in the northeast, and even Bensdale had a feature sale as well. So
that was just last week, wasn't it?
Just last week, yeah. Yep. It seems like a really long month, January, to me, but the first week opened up in January, I think on the 3rd. There was cattle sales started, and they started pretty well the same way they finished in the last year. There was a lot of mid-low fives for most of black steers, and heifers sort of mid-low fours, $4 a kilo. So it was all pretty firm, and it probably stayed that way. There's some anomalies where cattle got a bit dearer here and there, but that was probably quality driven more than that. And it all just sort of cruising along, probably softening maybe just a shade as we head into that that tough month of February. There's not a lot of feed around. There's a lot of smoke around a lot of areas, and those the requirement for young cattle, probably with so many weaners sold all at once, does get harder and harder to place those cattle. So Bensdale weaner sale last week was quite strong. A lot of Gippsland support, a lot of local support.
What did you draw in the end, Morgs?
I think they drew for 3,500 cattle. I think 3,000 or something turned up. So that was all pretty solid. Some people sat on a few, and because they didn't really know where the market was going to be, but it was certainly strong enough all the way through. You're buying a black steer for 5 to 5.30, and red steers made that as well. When I say Herefords, there's some really good runs of Hereford calves there. The Faithful family and Phil Geeman had some really good cattle. Matty Marshall from Orbost also had some good Hereford cattle there. So those cattle, some of the best you'll see, sold just accordingly too. So it's all solid enough, really. And local competition.
I was going to ask, where are they going?
Now, a lot of local cattle went locally, just to feeders and backgrounders and things like that. And they'd sort of been saving themselves to whop into that sale, and it certainly worked. So I think it was good for the vendors to sell a few and clean a few up, and certainly good for the buyers because they haven't paid over exorbitant prices. So it's certainly good for everyone, which is great.
What about the sheep, the lamb job? Have you actually made an appearance there yet this year? Or you?
Oh, look, since you've been crunching me, and all these other little pot shots I get now from people who listen to these podcasts, asking me if I'm a sheep man. Massive sheep man. I love my lambs with mint sauce.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's only on a plate you like them.
No, I went down to, I was at Bensdale. We've been selling a lot of lambs over the hooks and things like that, heading through. Now, mid-tens to high-tens leading into Christmas. Then there was probably some pretty good forward Christmas prices thrown around from your supermarkets and everyone else, and that sort of got soaked up pretty well. Market sort of started off pretty subdued in early Jan, sort of $10 and under 10 in some circumstances for the sort of processing lambs. But I think that's just starting to see some daylight again, where it's all getting a little bit easier to sell them. Just a little bit of a glut of lamb and a bit for sheep, but now she's just hitting the ground running. I think contracts and over the hook sheep, $8, kicking around that, and mid lambs sort of mid-10s and things like that. It's all pretty good, and I think we'll start to see some momentum happen from here on in. Store lambs, they're strong.
They're still strong.
Yeah, $5.20 and $30 for a store lamb live weight.
Yeah,
brings
right.
a store lamb out at 20 kilos by $5.20. Significant money. Oh, live weight, sorry, 40 odd kilos by $5.20 is $200.
Yeah.
So a bare shorn store lamb's $200 to $230 or $40. Pretty good money.
Yeah. Now, going into winter, is it just going to keep climbing up into winter, do you think? Or what's your...
Well, yeah, past history indicates future performance, and usually the lamb job sort of cruises along through February and March while the lamb's sort of deteriorating quality. Lambs coming off crop and things like that. Obviously, the feed value is not as good in crop. Therefore, the lambs probably don't present as well, but the good lambs will certainly make the money all the way through. I think as you hit deeper into winter, I think we're going to see some pretty exciting times on the fat cattle and the fat lamb market, like we see it every year. But you've got to have them good, and you've got to have them ready at that time, and that's where the experts, the professional cockies that can have the stock right at the right time is going to be very well rewarded.
Yeah, now, I know you got your finger on the pulse on most things around here at the Gippsland Ag Group, but have you followed along with the lamb trial here?
No, I haven't. Not really at all, Al, to be honest.
Well, we should do a podcast on it one day. You should come for a drive in the paddock because we've got 10 producers with their own stock in, 10 lambs each. We just weighed them again the other day, and on average, they're up around that 300 grams a day on millet and rape at the minute, so they're ticking along all right. So,
can we say whose lambs are the best yet or not?
No, it's a bit of a spread at the minute. There's
it's an even field.
Even field. There's some low lies. That might be one of mine in there. But there's some high flyers. Shout out to Johnny Alexander, who won it last year. Actually, he's got lambs in again. So
he's a hyper competitive man. Johnny Alexander has to win everything. I go to gym with him twice a week, and he towers me up every week.
He'll be a strong fellow, wouldn't he?
Wiry. No, he's got massive cardio. Ordinary on the weights, I'll throw out. Very ordinary on the weights.
Sounds like it. I know John listens to this sometimes, so I'll tell him to listen at 6 minutes something or other.
Yeah, but I can tell you there's a puddle of sweat, on the Lindenow Hall floor, and it's not from Johnny.
Yeah, right. And I heard there might be a puddle of spew occasionally too. Is that right?
No, throughout time, look, I've come pretty close. I've seen some. I'll admit, some people call me Chuck Norris.
Chuck, yeah.
But I've given that up now. I've been going there for 12 months. I'm going a bit better. But,
working it out.
Yeah.
That was good. So what's that, in the Lindenau, you got a little hall set up or something, do some work?
Lindenau Hall, 5:45 in the morning. A girl named Estelle, I think Estelle Dixon, she does a great job. And she, just keeps me fighting fit. And
you through your paces.
10 or 15 other people around Lindenau. So certainly it's a great little way to start the day.
Yeah. Oh, we'll make an appearance down there.
You should come, Al. You should come. Well, you go to jiu-jitsu.
I've been a bit slack lately, actually. I've had a few injuries, and it's not a good place for when you got injuries.
Yeah, I bet. I will come to the gym.
I will. Now, the other reason that we want to get you on so early in the year, apart from everyone's been missing your dulcet tones, you've been really involved with the fire-affected cattle over the state. Tell us what you've been doing, and then we'll talk about what producers can do if they find themselves in a similar situation.
Yeah, so probably in my role and being involved, throughout elders hierarchy and livestock divisions and stuff like that, I've always had I've always worked over at the A area for 20 odd years, in and out of there, going and helping them with their weaner sales and things like that. I went over and bought some cattle at the VLP sale, so that was some blokes that broke out from elders and started their own company, Victorian Livestock and Property, through Jamie Quinlan, who's a keen listener of our podcast. They had their weaner sale on a Wednesday, shot the lights out, very, very dear sale. That afternoon, a few fires sparked up, and by Friday, a lot of those producers that had sold cattle there had been completely burnt out. The Drysdale family, who have been buying their cattle for a long time, fantastic, honest, hard-working people, lost everything, house, sheds, motorbikes, yards.
Family business, that one, is it?
Family enterprise, yep. Probably third generation, I suppose, second or third generation. They were there with their kids at the weaner sale that day, and then by 24 hours later or 48 hours later, their whole property had burnt. One of their whole properties had burnt down. So they've lost, so much. So yeah, Jamie and his crew went into overdrive, and they put out, I think about 2,200 to 2,500 cattle on grass, in emergency situations. Cattle went everywhere, and using all their contacts that they could, Jamie rang me and just said, "Can you place the cows for the Lily?" And I said, "Yeah, no worries." So they got shoveled everywhere. You've got some up in your place.
Got a couple, yep.
Yep. And there's been so many generous offers from all parts of Gippsland to put cattle on grass. Certainly, as well as hay. I think Lindeno did a hay drive through the Stewarts and crew. So everyone, Casey Stewart, who's one of the 450 Stewarts, he owns his own trucking company.
He's not here anymore either, is he?
Casey lives in Yea. Now, he's got a place in Yea.
Yeah.
I think he lives in a truck.
Yeah.
But he organised a fair bit of it, and it all we sort of just had to make things happen on the fly. Cattle went to everywhere, all parts of Gippsland, and very proud of the fact that we're happy to help our comrades over there.
Yeah. Now, just from a producer's point of view, you know those guys, you would have talked to them throughout it. What's their ability to make decisions in those times, or do they rely on guys like yourself to start helping them out in those first 24 hours?
It's a hard one. Like we've being an East Gippslander for a significant amount of time, we've seen some pretty ordinary situations ourselves. People handle it differently. Some people just, go back to what's important to them, but a lot of people can make rational decisions, and other times people don't. But the first thing you can do, and a lot of the times it is a stock agent, or it is the wool rep, or it is someone that turns up. We're nearly the first people on the scene sometimes. If we're called, we're there. So it's, you just sort of have to set about making things easy for yourself at the start. You compartmentise what's important, what's not, what's a priority, and a lot of those people's getting their cows off and looked after. So beggars can't be choosy, and away we go. There's a lot of adjustment cattle in East Gippsland at the moment. Yeah.
Now, did a lot of them they went to the yards first as like a safe spot? Is that right?
As the East Gippsland former manager Mal Lee certainly did a fantastic job through fires. There was everything there. I think one day I walked in there was cows, donkeys, pigs, camels, horses, everything. Yeah, and there a lot of just blockies and things like that have been burnt out. Just consign the cattle to the yards where they got water and feed, and they can be handled because a lot of fences are burnt down. So there's a lot of movement behind the scenes to make all that happen. But the main thing is if you can get your cattle on some solid grass and someone that cares for them. A lot of these cows are spitting out calves now. So 2 weeks ago they only got burnt, or 3 weeks ago they got burnt. Yeah, we got 4 calves on the ground last night, I counted. So a calf on the ground's a calf on the ground. Mm-hmm. And, for people like that, that's just that relief that someone else is there to look after them and help them in their time of need. And certainly East Gippsland's very good at that, and we get it back when it's our turn to, when we need some help. So I think I've never seen it where people are just so generous and happy to pass on. It's a funny situation through such devastation of the fires, how the community comes together and looks out for each other. You see the best in people in those times generally, don't you? So. Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the times people just want to help. They don't know how they can help or what they can do, but they just want to help. And that's their first instinct, is to help. It's not to protect themselves. It's just to, righto, what do we need to do to get there? And luckily enough, we get to see the best of it. And I certainly think that we're in a good position here with the Gippy Ab group and things like that, and all learnings that everyone's had from this previous experience, that we're going to be in better stead when something does happen. I think that's the beauty of this place. I think more than anything, apart from our fantastic podcast, it's right up there. The ability to assist in times of trouble, I think we're in a good position. Yeah, I think that's actually one of the reasons this group started, actually, is because as producers, you're often doing it alone, or you feel like you're doing it alone. And when people said, righto, we can't do it alone anymore, we've got to get together and do it together, that's the sort of one of the foundation blocks of this thing, and makes a big difference when you're going through a tough time together. It's good to share the good times together, but it really helps in those tough times, I think. So yeah, and if you haven't seen it before, someone else might have. So their knowledge that they can impart on you is beneficial. So we're going to change gears slightly, Morgs, because you've actually just been on the phone for the last 15 minutes. I've been eavesdropping, and you said you got a scoop for us, for the listeners of Digging Deeper. What's this big news you're going to share with us? Yeah, it's significant news for East Gippsland producers, and it's significant for a lot of different reasons. nothing stays the same in farming or anything else, and certainly our enterprise of selling livestock, we endeavour to do it the best way we can. And so we're changing up dates, times and facilities for the mountain calf sales.
So the big annual calf sales up in the high country, we sell a lot of cattle.
Yeah,
you're changing it up.
About 87 years, yep, which we're proudly been part of and continue to be. But some vendors have come to us with the idea that they'd love to see some change in the facilities. So we've elected to move the Wednesday sale to the Monday and keep the Tuesday sale the same. So the mountain calf sales are going to be on the 2nd and the 3rd, starting with the new ball of the NSA calves, the feature NSA calves, to be sold at the Bensdale Livestock Exchange at 9 o'clock on Monday, the 2nd of March. So NSA will now move down the road to Bensdale under a roof with scales, good water, the ability to feed stock on, and we're going to take on the mountain calf sales on Monday morning at Bensdale.
Right, so Monday morning you got the Reds at Bensdale from NSA.
Yep.
What's next? Right up the top, or
up the Great Alpine Road to Omeo, the home of the Hereford, and we're going to have the Hereford sale at Omeo.
What time's that going to be?
1 p.m.
It's going to be a tight trip.
Oh no, not really.
Well, not for you agents, I guess.
Yeah, well, the faster you go, the more you see, Al.
Yeah, that's it.
No, we'll see that. It'll take an hour and a half to sell them at Bensdale, I suppose, and then it's easily an hour and a half to Omeo at 135 kilometres an hour.
Yeah.
No. We'll get there. It's sort of 2 hour travelling time, so that's plenty.
Yeah, right.
Gives everyone an hour in between. So we have the Omeo Herefords there. The next day, obviously, Nutrien will have their sale out at Hinnamungy, and then we'll also have the Benambra Red sale at Benambra in the morning, 11 o'clock. And then Omeo Blacks.
So finish on the Blacks this year?
Finish on the Blacks, 1:30. Just sort of keeping, changing things around, giving everyone a chance, the NSA guys, to sell under a roof. We're probably thinking that, animal welfare and the ability to weigh stock, which is pivotal now. Everyone buys cattle with a calculator now as well. So we're going to start it there, set the pace, and away we go. And I think it's going to add a lot of benefits to everyone all the way through. So Tuesday doesn't change much. But
yeah, so you're going to miss the NSA pub with the ice cold beer.
Yeah. Well, Stretch at the NSA pub has always done a fantastic job looking after everybody, and we'll make sure that we go in there and show our faces again. But the ability from the vendors to weigh cattle, have them under a roof, and it also weatherproofs us a bit. So the issue with the mountain calf sales, it's
been wet some years, very wet.
We have had some terrible rain events, and we have had some heat waves. We have had fire. We have had locusts. We have had everything possibly. Lightning hit a tree.
I was just going to ask you about this because you mentioned the great Jamie Quinlan earlier this podcast. He's not a fan of the old lightning.
No. The lightning hit a tree once when Jamie was about 17 or 18 years old, and he laid in the mud, and he said, "I'm not dying in this shithole." So Jamie lived to tell the tale, and now he's a private agent running his own company. So, but I did say to Al that Jamie is going to come on this podcast. He does listen to the podcast. And because we found him so much grass, he's coming on the podcast and give you Jamie Quinlan exclusives.
Yeah, well, he has to come up and check these cattle at some stage, so we'll snaffle him then.
We want him to send the Drysdales in. They could come and say good day on the podcast too.
Yeah, that'd be good. Good to hear from their point of view. So, that is big news, and that means you're drafting up on Sunday afternoon. Yep.
Sunday, under a roof in Benz, that'll be nice.
Can you see any disadvantage of that, or is it all positive, you think?
Oh, no, I don't think there's any disadvantages, really. I think we've got the ability to... We're weatherproofing ourselves, and we obviously take those mountain calf sales so seriously that we're just trying to give ourselves another option if something goes wrong weather-wise. But also, it's a new beginning. Like, we can line up as many cattle as we like there on a Monday. There's only one other cattle sale in the state, and that's Morgan Lake. We're not competing against anyone else. So I think we'll probably draw a crowd for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is big news. After 80-odd years, Morgs has come in and decided time to change things up with the advice of the vendors, or
I've only been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
So Barry Newcomen, I think Barry Newcomen started the NSA calf sale, so you can hit him with it. He was the agent back then, so...
Oh, there you go. Well, we're hopefully having Barry on in the next couple of weeks before the calf sale, so we'll ask him what levers he had to pull to change this.
Oh, no. Look, and those guys, this Bluey Cummins and and Barry and Evan and Reese, they all pushing the barrow to do it because they think it's going to add value to their cattle, being able to weigh them and have them under a roof and care for their stock, which is pivotal.
Yeah. Now, what about Omeo? Is there any talk of Omeo moving down, or you can't move Omeo?
No, not really. We haven't really thrown that out to anyone. The Mount Calf sales is its own enterprise, and those people, vendors, can choose wherever they want to sell their stock. And we believe that the Mountain Calf sales up there is still going to continue on for a long time. But also, we had to tweak a few things to make sure it works for everybody.
Yep. Now, I was going to say, numbers-wise, how are we looking this year? Numbers and quality, I guess, because some of those places have had a fairly tough stretch.
Yeah. Got Peter Faithful sold his cattle early. Usually a big proponent of the Omeo red sale. Yeah, they're probably going to be lesser numbers. I think there's also been a big swing to spring calving and things like that as well throughout time. So our sale will be 6,000 cattle over a couple of days, which is enough. There's certainly been some bigger ones when everyone had cattle everywhere and it gets dry, but I still think East Gippsland's relatively loaded up with stock too. I think we're running about 20% above capacity in my belief. So I think, if we do see a dry time, we'll see numbers swell.
Yeah. Oh, that is a big scoop, Morgs. Thanks for sharing that with us. We'll make sure we get out on social media.
Scoops with Scoops McHale.
Yeah. All right, we better sign off. My phone's ringing. I bet you yours is as well. So thanks for coming in nice and early.
I turned mine off, Al.
Yeah, mine's buzzing on the desk right now. So
good. Okay.
All right, till next month, Morgs. Thanks very much.
Thank you, listeners.
Bye. A big thank you for tuning in today. And remember, if you have a question about today's episode or a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out to one of our many platforms and join the conversation. We're here because of your passion and commitment to agriculture. Together, we can build a stronger farming future.
This podcast is made possible by the Future Drought Fund Regional Drought Resilience Planning Program, co-funded by the Victorian and Australian governments.